Welcome to Forensic Friday.
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Can you believe, can you believe it's 2025?
No,
Just wild.
I know.
So we want to do a little bit of a year in review,
Mm-hmm.
and we've never done this before, so we'll just
We've never done a lot of things
we've
before
never
the
done a lot of things
podcast.
before. So join us, will you? In our year in review.
Oh my
So I was
God.
looking over kind of our history this year with the podcast, and we dropped the trailer on April 13th.
That's crazy. That's a day after my upcoming due date.
I know. So earlier I was talking with you and I was like, we should do a live, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be having a baby.
I know you're like, we should do like we should do like a party for our year. And I was like, well, we might have to wait.
Or do it at the hospital. Just kidding. We will not do that. We will leave you alone. You're a personal space person. I hear you.
We'll see. I might get sick of my personal space.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, we're not even a full year in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hilarious how we started because I wanted to launch in July and I had all these big plans and now it was like, let's just do it now.
But I'm glad we did.
I am so glad we did. I think you were really smart because
Because we could promote it at the conference.
we could promote it at the conference and we knew a tiny bit about what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we rolled up to the conference ready to roll with
Yep.
merch
Yep.
presented and really had such a warm reception from our colleagues at the
Mm-hmm.
conference.
Mm-hmm.
And people were so kind. Oh, it was so fun. I can't wait until this year.
I know. The conference this year, Crime Con this year. We have a lot coming up this year.
So,
Baby this year.
oh, a baby, Gray, a
Like,
new forensic bestie.
we have a lot of things.
Yeah, I might get a West Highland White Terrier, so we might just add to the mix. We're gonna add to the family. Garrett's gonna kill me. He's like, nope. I'm like, well,
I know.
said we weren't getting a golden, and then we were in a car going to Missouri to get a golden.
I know. Preston wants to get one of those wire hair pointers.
Oh, like a little hunting dog.
Yes.
Little, they're not little.
Preston was like, we could get it when we have the baby, so like you can train it. I was like, excuse me, sir?
Mm-mm. Uh-uh.
I was like, I'm pretty sure people think that they can do that all the time and then they return the dog.
No, that's what, especially with a high energy dog,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have your hands full.
I was like, get me a baby Bernese mountain dog. I'm good with that.
Oh yeah. Or, my parents have German Shepherd and that dog was a nanny. Kept Mac in the yard. I literally set him out when he was 2.5. He's toddling around the yard and Fee's like boop, like keeping him in the yard.
Yes, just monitoring.
Absolutely. So I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about some of our episodes from this year that you guys can look up and listen to if you haven't already.
Mm-hmm.
But we can give you a little bit of the behind the scenes too. So, Nat, what is your favorite episode that we did?
Oh gosh, my favorite episode.
If you had to narrow in on an absolute
Ugh.
favorite.
I would have to say, you're gonna ask me another question too, and it's probably gonna be the same answer. I'd have to say Army Hammer
Yep.
because the more you peeled the layers, it's like it
Oh,
was an onion. Like
yes.
the crazier it got.
It got crazier and crazier. And I didn't know any of it really.
No.
No, and you did such a good job, Nat, I think, of pulling that one together.
Well, I appreciate that. It was a lot.
It was a labor of love.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is OnlyFans Murder in the Building.
I mean, that was a classic because it was our first,
First episode.
and we started with a female offender.
Female offender, crazy story.
I just knew a teeny bit about it.
And the title, I mean, come on, it's a great title.
I know. That one got a lot of hits.
It got a lot of hits.
Mm-hmm.
So our top five are Army Hammer
Yeah.
in terms of
Oh,
like most
there
downloads.
you go.
Army Hammer Part 1, grade A butthead.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had your ranking scale. Grade A butthead, grade A
Grade A
asshole.
asshole. And then unnameable.
Yeah, unnameable,
Un
unmentionable, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Like too inappropriate to say.
100%. And
Hmm.
then the second was our buddy Wade Wilson, the Deadpool killer.
Wow. I didn't know
That's
that
our
was second.
second biggest.
Okay.
Third biggest is Army Hammer Part 2, Bad Mentals. The
Love that.
mentals, the mentals were bad.
In
Number
everyone.
number 4 was our midweek mini borderline personality disorder. And
That
that
was
was
a really
one
good one.
that was one we were really passionate about.
Well, we recorded that twice because the first one was, it was like we were too sad in it.
It was way too sad. It
And
wasn't
so we had to
hopeful.
re-record it.
We did.
But I think that one and the narcissism one really helped people
I think so
understand.
too. And I think we're going to do more of that in the coming year too.
Hmm.
And then fifth is OnlyFans Murder in the Building.
There you go. Our two favorite ones were in the top five.
They were. I think
I
they're a
love
lot of
that.
people's favorite ones.
Yes.
We were talking earlier, and one of the questions that I wanted to cover is kind of what was the hardest to record and
Mm.
why?
Okay, let me think about this because you and I briefly mentioned this earlier. And I said it was going to be Army Hammer, but I don't know if that's true. I think Army Hammer came to mind mainly because there was so much information and there were so many grandfathers and great grandfathers and
Hmm.
all this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that one was hard just content wise and organizing it. But I think like emotionally hard, I'm going to be honest, our most recent one with John Bonet, that
Mhm.
one just kills me every time.
It's a really hard one.
I hate it. I hate that we still don't know who did it. I hate that there was no justice for her.
No, a precious little 6-year-old on
I
Christmas. It's
know.
just the worst.
I know. And she's forever stuck as that 6-year-old,
I know. I
you
really
know?
hate that too. I think my hardest to Gabby Petito just haunts me because it
Mm-hmm.
was completely preventable.
Mm-hmm.
So that kills me. That one
Yeah.
kills me.
That one's
And
tough.
it's one of the best cases to support the laws that we have.
Yep.
And so when our clients have issues with the laws, which I understand the laws aren't perfect,
Mm-hmm.
they're written the way they are to protect a Gabby Petito.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one was hard. And then the other one, we still haven't released it. Chris Brown. I hate him so
Oh my
much.
gosh.
I can't
Do we still
have that
have
in the
that
can.
episode somewhere?
We still have it somewhere. We're gonna have to re-record it. I just hate him. And I keep really looking. You know, I get so fired up about this.
I see him pop up on TikTok sometimes and I just laugh out loud because he's
Oh,
such a tool.
he just offends me to my core. And
Such
I
an
went to
idiot.
a church for a while where the pastor was a huge Chris Brown fan, which makes no
Hmm.
sense. And they were real defensive about it. And I'm still
Mhm.
angry about that.
Here's
So,
my crap. Here's my crap with Chris Brown. There's one of his songs that I will forever love because it involves a really core memory for me with college.
yeah.
So I have this like torn feeling because I love this song, but I hate him.
Listen, he's talented. You will never hear me say he is not talented. Also, have you seen this is so terrible. Here, you may have to cut this out. I don't know. Chris Brown in the harness,
Yes. When he can't get down.
Justin Timberlake in the harness.
Okay, but it was different, I think, because Chris Brown couldn't get down.
Okay, no, there's that. So there's when Chris Brown couldn't get down. But I'm talking about
I don't think I've seen
there's a
that.
there's a
I've only
comparison happening right now
I
between Chris Brown's package and Justin Timberlake's package. And y'all, Justin Timberlake went and got a longer shirt. I shit you not, he went and got a longer shirt. That's how insecure he is.
I
He
am
blew it.
crying.
Justin Timberlake is ruined because of this. And you know, Chris Brown probably put a sock down there. I don't believe in it. That's all 100% Chris Brown. But it has ruined Justin Timberlake. He literally changed his wardrobe on tour.
No, I know. I'm seeing him in January.
Why am I not going with you? I'm so
Because
offended.
I got invited by my friend.
Also, I tend to bail on things, so I really do understand that. But oh my gosh, I would go just to see the longer shirt.
I
He's
know.
he's wearing like a tunic. Like it's a problem. And so I can't speak. I don't know either one of them. Allegedly, there's a difference between them in that regard. And
That's so funny. The only
it's
harness thing I've
so
seen with
funny.
Chris Brown is when he's like can't get down and they have to
When
get
he's
a
yelling at
ladder.
everybody,
Yes.
he's such a nightmare. He is a nightmare of a human being. So we will release that this year, and we're gonna have to re-record it. First of all,
That's
it was one
fine.
of our first episodes.
It's probably not
So
gonna be
we
good.
probably need to redo it, but I get
Yeah.
so fired up about him. And my goal is to find something redemptive. Like I need to find, besides the fact that he was so young when he got famous, that's the only thing I can find where I'm like, "Ugh." But then it's like, oh, that poor jackass, he got all this money and blah, blah, blah. I just can't. Like
I
every
know.
road leads back to I don't like him. So I'm gonna
I
try
know.
really hard.
I
Okay.
know.
So there's that. Has our why shifted at all? We have
Hmm.
our why in one of our first episodes. We talk about what we hope the podcast will do.
Hmm.
Has it shifted for you at all?
I don't think our why has shifted because I think a lot of the parts that were so big for me and still are like the prevention work. I mean, obviously we love crime, so we're going to talk about crimes and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff and that just is kind of the, if you will, like fun part of it, but our why is to educate and to prevent some of this stuff from happening
Yeah.
in whatever way we can do that, right? So if it's sharing about a case and then talking about, hey, these are like signs to not
Yes.
go on a date or to, break up with someone, then we're going to do that. Or if it's some of our minis where we actually talk about different mental health diagnoses and all that. I know for our personality disorder ones, we got a lot of likes and comments on those because they were just so helpful for people. And some people were like, I just relate. Like I have a family member who has narcissistic personality disorder or who has borderline personality disorder or who has some sort of schizoid disorder, right? And I think it's just been helpful for people to not feel alone. And so I think the why hasn't shifted for me, but I think I want to keep going at the education piece and increase that more.
I agree. And I think we've heard from some of our clients and honestly some of our friends
Hmm.
the comfort of being able to hop in your car and
Hmm.
hear a consistent voice
Hmm.
talking about things in a consistent way. So I think being a part of somebody's wind down and their comfort and their education, that
Hmm.
I mean, the impact of that I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
motivated by that too.
That's cool.
Some of the things that are coming in 2025, I was going to throw a few out and then you can add some in there too.
Yeah.
We're going to have occasional book clubs where maybe we read a book
Hmm.
together and react to it and have some discussion live.
Hmm.
Mass shootings, we've touched on it only a tiny bit. We're going to get into some of the
Hmm.
big Colorado. Colorado is ground
Like,
zero for some of this
yeah, like
stuff.
the hub for it.
Columbine, Aurora
Hmm.
Theater shooting, some of those situations.
Hmm. Yeah, the stem shooting,
The
all that.
STEM shooting, Colorado's got a lot of that. And
Hmm.
because of that, Nat and I've had a lot of training around it and a lot of exposure to some of the inner workings, even in the prosecution of that.
Hmm.
So I think that would be really good. Wrongful convictions. Gare got me
Mm.
a book of wrongful convictions.
I have to tell you, that is like a huge fear of mine, is like
Oh,
being
100%.
wrongfully convicted of something.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've talked about, and John Bonet is like the perfect example of this, where
Hmm.
you can have confirmation bias and people start getting tunnel vision.
Hmm.
We're going to really get into this a little bit in the coming year because it ties in with criminal justice reform.
Hmm.
We need laws, we need structure. Nat and I work within that system every single day. Also, it's not a perfect system. And there are people who get caught and who are lightning rods when
Hmm.
it doesn't go the way it's supposed to go.
Yep.
So we're going to cover some of that too. Psychopathy. Ooh, manipulation. I really want to get
Mm.
into the nuts and bolts of manipulation.
I think we should. And we did a gaslighting episode, but
We can go deeper though.
yeah, gaslighting fits in with manipulation.
It really does. Serial killers. I want to get into
Mm.
some of the
Hmm.
main serial killers, the Ted Bundy of it all, and that kind of stuff. What do
Hmm.
you want to contribute in 2025? What do you want to bring?
Obviously more cases that are just really fascinating. I think one of my biggest things is I think people really want to know more about psychopathy, and
Yeah.
you're more of a pro at it than I am, but I want to become more versed in it myself. And so psychopathy,
Yeah.
I think, will be really huge. My heart is really in like the education part of it for whatever reason. I really want to focus more, not like more in terms of like, we're not going to do crime cases because those are just fun.
Oh,
But
100%.
I want to focus a lot on education. And so I would love for our listeners to let us know, like, what are some of the things that you want to know more about?
Yeah.
Mental health wise, psychopathy. So what's the word? I'm trying to think of the other word. I can't think of it.
Sociopathy?
So yeah, sociopathy.
Yes.
Yeah, and just understanding more of the criminal mind.
Well, and when we're teaching and we get to teach and facilitate. I mean, there are whole days I spend with Nat clinically. We're in the same
Mhm.
room
Mondays.
80% of the day on Monday, right?
Mhm.
Well, we like it that way. I'm gonna always set my schedule up that way. It's just easier. But the topics even that we present in our groups, people are like, I needed that in sixth grade. Like, where was that in sixth grade?
Literally. Yes.
So we've talked about bringing some of those to you in some of the minis where we might talk about the imago exercise, intergenerational violence, consent.
Yeah. We've shared some of those things in our episodes. Like, the Army Hammer was very intergenerational.
Yes.
My favorite one, y'all, if you haven't listened, one of my favorite ones was the communication styles.
Oh, for sure.
It's a total dumpster fire, but it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
So you should go listen to it.
No, that one is super good. I think talking about Gottman's a softened startup. How do we start a hard conversation?
Mm-hmm.
How to have a ratio that protects your relationship from divorce or from
Yeah.
ending, that kind of stuff. I think we can get into all of that this
And
year.
how to actually like engage in relationships in a healthy way. Because I was telling one of my groups recently, we aren't taught to do relationships healthily, if that's a word.
Mm-mm.
We are literally kind of taught to do it in this really unhealthy, toxic power and control dynamic type of way
Yes.
because it's coming from more of a defensive stance versus a relationship stance.
Yes.
And as humans, we typically come from more of a fear stance, which creates the defenses.
Yes.
So I think being able to talk more about what it just looks like to use some John Gottman stuff to help our listeners understand, like, hey, if it looks like this, it can look different.
It can look different. And on a macro level, that style, this fear-mongering style of
Mm-hmm.
consuming information, whether it's in our relationships or big picture, creates
Mm-hmm.
polarization, conflict, negative
Mm-hmm.
assumptions, and ultimately can even go into conspiracies and making really negative assumptions. And so I think it's worth exploring that whole thought process, you know?
Yeah, I think and that's the stuff that I want to lean more into, and I think would be really helpful for our listeners.
Absolutely. And, we love doing this, you guys. And so Nat and I work at a nonprofit. We are in no way wealthy. We are donating our time to this. And we're so happy to have people who want to listen. We may
Mm-hmm.
have some offerings next year around Patreon where we live react to some cases. And there may be some options to get even more involved in the podcast. So we'll keep you posted on that. More merch, of course, because we're always designing
We
things.
love our merch.
We love the merch. And also, we want to help some nonprofits and maybe do some fundraisers for some local
Mhm.
nonprofits that are really helping people who are affected by
Yeah.
crimes.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
that would be a good use of our time and our resources.
Mm-hmm.
So, mostly, we want to say thank you for an amazing year.
Yeah.
It's
It
been an
hasn't been a
amazing
full year
year.
for us yet, but you know,
I know, not a full year.
a f- a good. We want to thank you guys for this year,
This year, an amazing 8 months, 8 months and
8
counting.
months. Yeah.
which is crazy, an amazing 8 months and counting. And we wanted to shout out a few of our forensic besties who have
Hmm.
actually made this possible and have been just constant supporters. And of course, first of all, is our husbands. My husband stays up all night producing our nonsense.
No, poor guy.
He's like, if Natalie says one more time, or if you lip smack, or I mean, he's got like a list of things that drive him crazy.
So
But we
funny.
couldn't do any of this without Garrett. And, your husband Preston is so supportive and gives us really honest feedback,
Hmm.
which I value. It
Yeah.
scares me sometimes, but I value
Well,
it.
and he likes it. That's the thing.
And he doesn't lie about that kind of stuff. He
No,
just doesn't lie.
he would be straight up with me and say it's crap.
He'd probably tell you this is a waste of time. Stop doing it.
And he has not done that.
He has
He has
not.
done that with past endeavors I have attempted.
Yep, yep.
Hmm. Hmm.
Honestly, I was thinking about the people at our everyday job who were terrified when we started this that we would just disappear on them.
Hmm.
But they have been so supportive. So our boss, Jason,
Hmm.
and so
Hmm.
many of our colleagues.
Lisa and Lexi, who were both guest speakers,
Oh, yes, Lori.
Ori, and then obviously my sister-in-laws.
Oh, the sister-in-laws are a
I know
dream.
Brittany and Arliss.
Oh,
Aris is getting on board. She's jumping on.
you're getting her on board for sure. But Arliss
But
and
Arliss,
Brittany, get
I
the
need
merch.
Arliss. Arliss sent me that video, but it was so grainy I couldn't copy it. But when she was like holding the forensic bag, I was like,
Oh,
this is like a commercial for us.
oh, I know.
Redo it and send it to me.
No, it means so much because it's really vulnerable to do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so for our friends and family to support, my parents listen every week.
Mm-hmm.
They really do, which is so
Mm-hmm.
sweet. And they give us feedback. Tina keeps us honest with the F-bombs. Thank you, Tina.
Yep, I've gotten better.
You have gotten better,
I
and that's going
know.
to be good for baby too.
I know. It's great.
Kayla, who did our photography and made us those
Yes.
adorable ornaments, has been supportive from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we love you guys. We really appreciate all of the support that you've given us, and we are so excited for 2025.
We're so stoked, y'all. So thank you for all of your support.
And we will see you for all of 2025, and hopefully you'll get to enjoy all the crazy adventures ahead with us.
Yes, we're stoked.
So as always,
Bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.